Well, hello. Welcome to this session called Explore the World of Coding. Am I audible? Can somebody quickly confirm in the chat that you can hear me? Yes, perfect. I am good. I'm good. Vaibhav, how are you? Welcome Ridhi also, if you're still around. We are going to go ahead and do a very basic coding session today. We're going to explore what coding even means, start from there and build on the fundamentals of coding. So if you're watching this live or you plan to watch this recorded afterwards, what you need to be aware of is, if you already know some coding but you're not 100% comfortable with it, then this might be a good session for you. If you have no idea what coding is, then this is definitely a session for you, because we are not going to go into anything intermediate or advanced, but we're going to stay into the absolute basics. Okay, so with that in mind, this is a 90-minute session, so buckle in and let's get started. This is going to be a refresher course for many of you if you understand some coding. And if you're ever confused, this is the session to come back to and look at everything that we have done. Okay, so let's start with the assumption that you are attending this and you do not know anything about coding, and we will start from there. And what we will do is that we will talk about what even coding is. All right, we will talk about why do we learn coding, what's in it for us, why do we learn coding, and finally we'll discuss the building blocks of coding, get some basic understanding. Welcome Sonu Kumar. The building blocks of coding, we're going to understand some of that. So that's the plan for the next 90 odd minutes. And let's start with the fundamental question: what even is coding? Okay, and the simplest answer I can think of is, think of it like you're learning a new language. Okay, you welcome Devanshi Sahni. You want to communicate with the computer, right? You don't speak the same language. The computer does not understand it. Computer understands something called binary. It only understands yes or no, 1 or 0, true or false. That's all it really understands. It understands nothing else, which means if I want to tell the computer that, add 1 and 1, how would I say? I can say this in English, I can say that in Hindi, I can say this in French, German, hundreds of different languages. The programming language, the job of the language would then be to translate whatever I'm saying and turn that into something that the computer can understand. Welcome, Sanket, Pihu. Welcome. Yes, the job of a programming language then would be to understand what you are saying as the coder, translate that into something that the computer can understand, and take it from there and basically do whatever you have asked the computer to do. Welcome, Priyanka, Soham, Miss Brahman. We're just beginning. We are in the first stage of describing what coding means. And why are we doing all of this? Why are we even interested to communicate with the computer? We are trying to communicate with the computer because there is a problem that we need to solve. Okay, so coding is basically about learning a new language, and each language has its own syntax, it has its own vocabulary, it has its own way of communication, grammar, syntax, all of that. And the trick then becomes, we need to understand the basics, we need to understand the vocabulary, what this word means, what this word does not, and how do we communicate. That is how we learn the new language. Thankfully, the choice of language used in most programming languages, in fact all of them, is English. So the English words that we are used to understanding, we can still use the same words and use it in a certain way, and the computer will start understanding what we are saying. So this is what we are going to do today. We are going to learn a new language and try and solve a problem. Okay, welcome Mohit Thakur, welcome Jonathan. So the idea then is, why then? Why are we learning this? In my mind, and I've been doing this for the past 15 odd years now, this thing called programming or coding. We'll talk about the difference between coding and programming also in a bit. But in my mind, the reason why we all need to learn coding is one, primarily to improve our problem solving skills. When a problem is given, how do we solve that problem? That could be real life problems, that could be only computer based problems. How do we solve them? There is a theory called divide and conquer, in that when you are given a big problem, you break it up into small pieces and then solve each individual pieces. Thereby you will solve the whole problem. So the problem solving skills improve when we learn coding. Another thing that becomes better is that our logical skills. When asked a question, how do we respond to that logically? That skill gets boosted. We become better logically when we learn coding, because programming and coding is all about logic. Another thing that happens is that we become more persistent and patient. We develop patience and persistence. And what I mean by that is that no programming language gives you a ready solution. That means you have to go and learn some things, come and try it. It does not work. You are going to have to try it again, try it in a different way. And in doing that, you will actually learn the trick of persistence, and much of success in your life is going to be because you are persistent and you have some patience. Welcome, Nitish. And finally, the fourth thing that I think really is valuable because of learning coding is that you become better at creative expression. What I mean by that, I'll come to that, Vaibhav. What is the difference between coding and programming? I'll come to that. You become better at creative expression. So whenever you are asked a question, or a problem appears, or something needs to be done, you will start doing that better and more creatively, because a program, a function, an app, an application, a website, whatever you create out of coding, right? It exists only because you created. If you did not create it, it wouldn't exist. And therefore, your creativity increases by practicing more and more of coding. Welcome, Pratik Abhishek. And finally, welcome, Nikhil Raj. Finally, we have this, which is that you get some better career prospects. And in my mind, this is not the goal. You don't learn coding because you want to have a great career. That is a byproduct of it. Career prospects improve, whether it is a better job or you want to run your own business or whatever you want to do. That is a byproduct of the fact that you're good at coding rather than the goal. If you're learning coding only for that, that's okay. I don't have a question against that. But that should not, at least in my mind, be the primary goal of why you want to learn coding. I hope this is clear. Now, there are two terms that gets thrown around, and you're seeing even I am using these two terms interchangeably. Sometimes I use the word coding. Sometimes I use the word programming. If we really go deep into it, this is a fight that programmers and coders are having for a very long time. What the difference is, in my mind, the simple difference between coding and programming is that coding is when you are coding all by yourself, or you're doing it with a specific purpose. Programming is more about the bigger level picture. There is more to programming than coding. There is there is a design involved in it. There is a set of discussions that happen, and it is multiple people coding together to bring one big program to end. For example, we are now all using this program called Unacademy app. I'm using this to present to you. You're seeing my video somewhere. You're seeing that you're not seeing it, but I have options where I can mute, I can change some settings, upload a document and such. You're chatting with me. I have a way in which I can, click on something and then, add these underlines and all of this. This is all coding. All of this has been attained by coding, but not just by coding. There's a little more to it. To simplify, if you're doing it all by yourself, think of it like coding. If you there is a team and lots of people are doing different things to create one big program, that is what I would call as programming. But again, these are different definitions. People have their own definitions. The big point is, don't get too carried away right now. Focus on coding. Programming will come with time when you join a big company or whatever. I see Nikhil, Samarth, Prashansa, and Ishan have joined. Welcome. Let's go on to the next step then. Okay, there's a lot of choice for languages, right? If we want to communicate with the computer and say we want to get some stuff done, you've probably heard of these words. There is something called Java. There is something called C++. You've probably heard of. There is something called Python. There is PHP, JavaScript, Ruby. These are all, pretty famous languages that people have been using for many years. Python and PHP are like the big players in web design. Java, C are more into creating, C is primarily into creating embedded applications and stuff like that. HTML, Vaibhav, is not a language as much as it is a markup language. I am going to do a session in the next 4 days on Sunday, on 27th, which is about website creation. There I'll touch a little upon HTML. But HTML is not what would be called a programming language. The ML in HTML stands for markup language, which is slightly different compared to this. JavaScript is a scripting language. Again, these are all lots of words. Let's not get bogged down by those details, but these are all the choices you have to learn. However, it doesn't matter what you choose for basics. If you're learning the basics of programming, it does not matter which programming language from that list you use, because the building blocks of all the languages are still the same. There is still very similar concepts that you will have to learn, whichever language you pick. What I am going to do, though, is that I'm going to use a programming language called Dart. The Dart programming language, that is the one that we are going to pick today and try to learn. Once again, everything that I'm doing in Dart, almost 95% of it is similar to every other programming language. So it does not matter what you're using. A word here, a word there might change, but overall, the theory remains the same. All right. Welcome, Atharva. What is Dart then? Many people have probably not heard of Dart. Hopefully, you've heard of all the old language names that I gave 2 slides ago. You probably heard of Python, C, Java, JavaScript, all of that. Dart is it's not entirely new. It's about 7-8 years old now. This was released by Google. Google, the company, now called Alphabet, they released a programming language called Dart in 2013, and while they didn't say it, many of the people in the industry started calling Dart as JavaScript killer. So a lot of people started feeling that, with time, JavaScript is going to be dead and all we will have is Dart. That has not happened. JavaScript has become more and more powerful every day since 2013. The idea, though, at least seemed to be that it does not matter now, because Dart has become a powerful language in and of itself. Why, Vaibhav? Are you asking why they wanted to kill JavaScript? Again, that gets into business needs and such, where JavaScript is a open language that everybody controls. Dart was something that only Google was controlling, so they wanted more control over the internet, and there's a little more politics behind that. So once again, that's not something that we want to get into. I'm just giving this details because Dart has got a good future. So if you're learning something, Dart is a good choice. Again, you can learn Python. Python is fabulous. On Unacademy, we have lots of classes on Python already happening. So you can definitely consider that. JavaScript, definitely, yes, a great language to learn. Dart, though, is something that kind of gets a little bit of child treatment from many programming, both users and teachers. Why I like Dart is that Dart works really well with a software development kit, SDK, called Flutter. Flutter is something that I'm taking a class on right now. I'm taking a 3-month long course on Flutter to develop mobile applications. With Flutter, using one kind of code that is written by using the Dart language, you can create mobile applications. You can create Android apps. You can create iOS apps. You can also create websites with it. You can create Mac OS applications. You can even create uh, Windows applications. And now what are you going to teach, sir? I am going to teach Nikhil Dart. Dart is the programming language that we are going to learn. Okay, because this session is a 90-minute session which is about exploring what all is possible in coding. I'm giving you all the information. We will get into a lot of extensive coding soon, but I'm trying to give you a reason why Dart is important to learn, why Dart has a value to learn right now. This is one of the what is called as cross-platform applications. If you learn Dart, using only Dart, you can create mobile apps for Android, iOS, web applications that you can put on the internet. You can even create installable applications for Windows and Mac already. And very soon you will be able to create Linux applications also. So all in all, Dart is a good investment of your time and effort to learn something new. Okay. With Flutter and Dart, you can create magic. I am, like I said, doing a 3-month course on Unacademy right now. We are 1.5 months into it, in which we are creating lots of fun and useful mobile apps. And you're going to have a lot of fun once you attend those classes and start putting much of today's learning into action. Okay, so that's that. That's about the introduction. Now let's come straight into the coding itself. Every programming language basically has a few things that you have to learn. You cannot go further without learning those. And in the next 60 minutes, we are going to spend quite a lot of time trying to understand all of these 5. The first one is called variables. The second is called operators. The third is called conditionals. The fourth is called loops. The fifth one is called functions. These are the 5 things that you need to learn the basics of. There is something else called classes. We are not going to touch that today. We are going to, like I said, only doing the fundamentals of this. All right. So these 5 is what we are going to learn today. Let's look at variables. What are variables? Just remember these terms for now. We'll go deep into it. Variables are numbers. For example, your age or your weight or your house number. These are all numbers. Then there is something called text, your name, your address, the name of your city. This is all text, right? There is Boolean, which is either true or false. That's it. True or false. That's like any question that has a yes or no answer. That's what is stored inside a Boolean. A list is, think of it like your classroom. In the classroom, there's an attendance register. There's a list of names. It's all students in your classroom, your classmates. That's a list of people, right? A map is something else that we are going to talk about in some detail once we get to it. A map is it's like something that has the details about something, but let's not get bogged into that now. Just remember this: numbers, text, Boolean, list, and map. Then there is something called operators, and there are 3 types of that: arithmetic, comparison operators, and logical operators. We're going to learn this today. We're going to learn something called conditionals. There is if, there is if else, then there is if, else if, then else, and there is something called ternary. We'll learn this. And then we'll learn something called a loop, for loop, and for in loop. These are the loops that we'll learn. And we'll learn something called functions, in which you can pass something called argument. Again, if this sounds like too much, don't bother. You can always come back and watch the video again, pause, rewind a little, watch it. That is exactly how programming is learned. Nobody learns coding in one shot. Everybody has to go back, rewind, rewatch again, practice, and all of that. At this moment, the only thing I ask is that pay attention. Pay attention to the class. Do not try to practice along with this. First, finish the class, understand the theory behind everything. Go back, watch it again if you have to, and then practice. That's the nature of learning coding by everyone. That is how I have learned. That is how everybody I know has learned. Okay. What we're going to do today is that, like I said, programming or coding is all about solving problems. So what I'm trying to do is that I'm going to have a problem, and the problem is that I have been given an input which has marks scored by students, and what I'm trying to do is that I'm going to calculate and print the grades that the students have scored. So let's say somebody has got 80 marks, somebody has got 60 marks, somebody has got 95 marks, whatever is there, with name and a mark has been given to us. And what we are going to do is we are going to calculate and print the grades of all of these people. That is the problem statement for today, and that is what we are going to do. All right, and that's it. That's the introduction to the class, and let's spend about 60 minutes trying to learn the basics and solve the problem that we started. And I want to share the screen now. So once again, pay attention, because you can always go back, rewind and watch, but understanding has to come now. Okay, hang on please. Mm. One second. Yes, I need to enable screen sharing on my system, and that will be just 1 second. Oh, come on. I just got a new laptop recently, and I've not been able to set up the screen share on this yet. This should work. I don't know why. Allow access for everyone. Okay. Hang on, please. Nope. Which laptop is best for working, like programming and coding for other work? Any laptop should do, Nikhil. Right now, I am using a new MacBook, which I literally got yesterday, and I've did a little bit of testing, but I had assumed screen sharing should work straight away. You know what? I may have to call some support on this one. Hang on, please. Yes, Vaibhav, MacBook Pro. You'll have to give me 2 minutes, guys. I'm sorry about this. I'll just check and see what to do here. I'm still here. In the meantime, let me explain a little about this, if I can, what we are going to do today. We are, like I said, going to build that program which is going to allow us to take details and print out almost like a sheet that you see that is stuck on the notice board of a classroom if you need it, an name, then followed by marks, followed by the grade. The name and marks will be available, and what we will do is we are going to use this to create the list with the grade in it. And we're going to use all the concepts that we have discussed in it, and we're going to do it the moment I am able to share my screen with you. In the meantime, for the people who are in the live class, can you say in a yes or no if you have any programming experience already, or are you uh, learning programming for the very first time today? Nitish says no. Vaibhav says yes. Do we have some more responses? Okay. Hang on, please. There's this. Did not expect this technical issue to hit. Nope. Nope. I'm still stuck. Inola, welcome. Vaibhav, पता नहीं यार. They're not able to share the screen. Hang on. I've asked the Unacademy tech team for some help, and I'm waiting on the response. Just a little. It should be done. I am in the meantime trying to do something from my side. It's not working. Yeah, this has not happened to me before. This is the first time this is happening. We've been doing these sessions for a while now, but we're just stuck today for some reason. Tomorrow is class here or not, sir? No, I don't have a class tomorrow, Nikhil. Hang on. You just have some patience for 2-3 more minutes. I should be able to solve it. वही try कर रहा हूँ. That's what I'm trying, Vaibhav. Trying to change the browser and see. Sorry about this, guys. Don't want to keep you all waiting, but if I can't share the screen, there is no way I can do any, programming training on this one. All right, trying to do this from a different browser also now. Hang on, please. Uh, Again, welcome, Manan. I have had you in one of my classes before, right? Hello, hello. Yes, yeah, no, I remember having you in that class. So, have you been watching some of the videos in the past? We discussed about that. On here. Can some of you see my screen? My screen is visible. Yes. Okay. Perfect. Perfect. So I am going to open Dartpad elsewhere. I'm going to drag this in. All right. To the people who are live, sorry about the delay. And the people who are watching this recorded, I hope you had the patience to forward and come back to this. Are you guys able to, see the shared screen with Dartpad on it? Yes? Okay, perfect, perfect, perfect. So this is what we are starting with. And where we stopped was we stopped at the point where we were. मेरी voice गूंज रही है. Why? Is it just for Viper or no? I don't think so. This mic should take care of many of those problems. Okay. Anyways, so we lost about 10 minutes. I apologize for that once again, but just a technical thing. We are done, and we are going to get into many of the things that we talked about. Okay. Just to summarize, if I type these two forward slashes, whatever I type after that is called a comment, And a comment is not executed, is not understood. A comment is something for me. It is not for the computer. Anything that is not a comment, the computer will try to understand that. All right, here we go. So we discussed about a few concepts. We talked about variables. We talked about operators. We talked about conditionals. We talked about loops. And finally, we talked about functions. Okay. So what we are going to do today is we are going to spend much of the time trying to understand this. Okay. Let's start with this. Anything I type inside the print, any text that I type inside the print, that is going to appear on the right side here. So if I say run on this one, what will happen is that whatever I have typed inside the print, that appears here. So if I say, hello, world, today is a great day. If I say this and I run, whatever has been typed, they once will come to it in one moment. Okay. Loops is step 4 on the way. We will go step by step and we'll understand everything. We'll cover all of this today. So don't worry. Hello world, today is a great day. This came. So basically what you need to understand is whatever has been put inside the print, that gets printed here on the right side. Once we know that, I can delete this, get rid of this. And what I can do is that if I wanted to say hello to Abhilash, let's say I want to print my name on it. I wanted to print Abhilash in the console. So I can say print Abhilash. And if I do that, is that Python language? Yes, Yashasvi, no, this is called Dart. Yes, Vaibhav. Today's 7 p.m. class is also going to be on Mac. I'm done now. That computer was creating too much problems, so I got this new one. This one is fixed, so we are going to be on this new computer from now on. So yeah, this is what we did. We printed Abhilash on the screen. Now, what a variable does is that it starts with the word var, V-A-R. Okay. Void main, hang on, Atharva. Again, hang on, I'm coming in the right order. When I start explaining in the right order, you will understand all of it. Don't jump too far ahead. Just stay with me for a while. Okay. Var is the variable. Let me see if I can increase the font size a bit just to make sure that you are able to clearly see this. Okay. So var means variable. Variable means what? Think of it like a box inside which you can put anything. Okay. Or an envelope inside which you can put any paper. The envelope is the container inside which you can put a paper, and on that paper you can write whatever you want. You might say on the paper, you might say this paper is called name. Okay. And you can say the value of this name is Abhilash. So far with me, a variable, Devansh, hang on, we'll come to all of that. Void means what, main means what, we'll come to all of that. Let's only focus on the lines inside this right now. Okay, inside this open curly brace and this closed curly brace, whatever is being inside here, only that you focus on right now. Sanket, hello, good afternoon. So what I've done now is I've created a variable, or rather I have taken an envelope called name, and inside that I am putting a paper on which I have written Abhilash. Okay, var means variable. Yes, var means variable. Why is it called variable? Because I can later say name is equal to, let us say, Purohit also, which is my last name. So we can say name is equal to Abhilash, and then we can change it. And because the value varies, it becomes different, like Manan is saying. What we say is that this is called a variable. Okay. Now what I can do is that instead of saying print Abhilash inside braces, these quotation marks, I can get rid of this and I can say name, print the name. Sanket, it's C language. No, Sanket, it's not C language. This is a language called Dart. Okay. We discussed a little about Dart in the initial stage of this video. So go back and watch the video and you'll understand what is Dart, why we are using Dart and stuff like that. Okay. So think of it like this now. A variable has the name Abhilash and I'm saying print the name, and if I say run, what will happen is that nothing will change here. It will come back to Abhilash because in the name I have put the value of Abhilash. It is a bit similar to C language, yes. Yashasvi are asking, can we do with you? I would suggest not, Yashasvi, because this is a very, very early basic lesson. I want you to understand the concepts today. You can always watch the video again in practice, but if you practice now, what will happen is that you will miss some of the ideas that I'm discussing. Okay, cool. So here is the thing. Now, let's say where, okay, age is equal to 37, if I wanted to say here. Okay, this is the age. Sanket, you're saying I know C language and doing Python now. Good for you, Sanket. At the basics, everything is same. There's no difference. Okay. For a while, let's focus on the variables and then we'll come back to the discussions. All right. Name is equal to Abhilash. Age is equal to 37. If I say, see the difference. The name is put inside a quotation marks and the age is put without a quotation mark, and it is just a number. Even the color is different. Why? Because age is a number. Remember what we had said? There are many kinds of variables. There is number, there is text, and we had something like this, Boolean. Okay? And I can say another variable, I give it a name and say where, and I want to say, what is Boolean, by the way? Boolean is true or false. There is no other value in it. It's either true or it is false. We'll come back. So one of the Boolean values I want to set is, for example, I want to put something about me. Okay, and that is what is saying, Devansh? List and map also. Yes. List and map also. We're going to talk about it right now. Okay. Let us say I want to put a variable called has mobile. Or let's make it fun and say has hair. Okay. And for now, the answer is true because I do have some hair on my head right now. So this is what is called the Boolean. Boolean is either true or false. Once again, observe how I am not putting this inside quotation marks. I am putting this outside of quotation marks. So this is what is called as a Boolean. Now, let us talk about list. List is a collection of things. Okay, so this is put inside square braces like this. Observe what I'm doing. I'm typing the left square brace and I am putting a semicolon at the end. Okay, in here, let us say I wanted to create a list, and that list is the collection of apps that I use. Okay, let us say apps, in which case let's not make it as hair, let's make it as mobile, and the apps that I use, one is called, let us say, Google Maps. I put a comma and then I say WhatsApp, and maybe I'll say Gmail. These are the three apps that I use. Dart is used for what you're asking, Sanket? Dart is used for a lot of things, but primarily it is used for mobile application development using something called Flutter. Okay, we're doing a very in-depth course on Flutter on Unacademy right now. We're just using Dart as an example of learning programming today. Vaibhav, you're saying Facebook? No, I don't have Facebook. I don't use Facebook. Unacademy app. That's a nice one. I have Unacademy app also. In fact, I have Unacademy Educator app, something that you don't have. All right. So let's say these are the 4 apps I have on my mobile phone. Do you see what's happening now? This is a list of things. Okay. They're all similar in that they're all apps. So a list is basically and let's give it a meaningful name also. Let's call it app list. In the app list, I'm putting this inside square braces. The 4 things I have put now, that makes it a list. Now, if this was a classroom, this would be a list of student names. Okay. And what we can do is that we can say print name, sure. I can also say print age. Okay. And if I say print app list, let's see what happens. I say print app list. Okay. And if I do this, and if I do a run on this one, see this, the name came, this came, and the list appeared here. Now, if I wanted to put the app list one below the other, we would have to do something, and that's what we'll do in a bit. Another thing that we want to do is let's also try and get the as mobile here. Okay, so if I do that, I should get a true there. So basically everything that we have put here inside this, that has basically became a type of variables that we have seen. So we have talked about this. We are going to talk about maps now. What a map means is that imagine if all of this was about one person. Okay, let's say var person. If we did something like this and we used a curly brace, okay, this is var person. What is this? The basic Python is similar to what you're teaching now. Sanket, you're saying yes. Sanket, yes. All programming languages are very similar to each other. In the basics, there's not much difference. Okay, the map would basically be this. So that is a key value pair we call. Okay, this is a let's say I want to create a person, and I can say the name of that person is Abhilash. I put a comma here. I say age of that person is 37. And if I say as mobile is equal to true. If I do this, what I have now done basically is that I have created an entire person. Okay, I can, in theory, do this, Command C and Command V, I do paste and say person 2 and say this name is, let us say, Vaibhav. Okay, and I don't know your age, so I'm going to guess. Like each is base is one and they are the base. It's MacBook Air. It's not MacBook Air, it's a MacBook Pro. Let's say 15, 16, whatever. Has mobile, true. So 13. All right, that's close. Okay, so has mobile is true. Now what I've done is that using the same definition, the name, age, and has mobile, I've created person 1 and person 2. And that's what this is about. A map is all about being able to create a complex kind of variable. Okay, if this much is clear, please hit either the thumbs up or say yes or whatever. Okay, in which case we can go to the next stage, the variable types. This is a name, therefore this is in the quotations. This is an age, therefore the number is there, it does not have quotations. There is true or false in mobile, and the list is this. Now the map is a complex kind of variable in which there are enough types. Okay, so if this much is clear, what I'm going to do is that the next step I'm going to get rid of all of this. Okay, and I will look at something called operators. And within operators, there are arithmetic operators, there is a comparison operator, and there is a logical operator. We'll come to that in a bit. I use Kali Linux, please tell which is the best software. Sanket, right now what we are learning, you don't need any software. You can just go to Google Chrome and open this website called dartpad.dev, and it should start working for you to learn the basics. Okay, cool. So with that in mind, let us now get into arithmetic operators. Okay, just before we do that, I want you to understand conditionals called if, and if we learn this, we'll actually be able to learn operators even better. So what we're going to learn is conditionals first. Actually, I'm going to move this to the top and say, let's learn the conditions. What is a condition? If is a condition. I'm asking a question. I'm asking if your name is Abhilash, okay, then I want to say something. Okay, let's start with that. We know what a variable is now. So we say where name is equal to Abhilash. And I can do something like this. If name equals Abhilash. There's a small problem in this code that we're going to fix in 1 minute. You see this equal to here? If I type equal to, it says conditions must have a static type of bool. I'm getting a variable problems and all of that. Basically, I have to put equal to 2 times on this one. What is 2 times? 2 times is when we are comparing with each other. 1 time is when we are assigning. The equal to, the first time I'm saying inside the name variable, put the value Abhilash. But if I say name equals to Abhilash, that means I'm comparing with this. Again, this is the absolute basics of this. Understand this and you're good to go. Okay. So let's do this. Let's say if marks, rather than doing a name comparison, let's do marks. If this person has scored 80 marks now, okay, out of 100. And if I say if marks equals 80, yeah, if marks equals 80, I want to say print grade A, let us say. Okay. And if I run this, what's going to happen is that in here in the console, I'm going to get grade A because marks have been compared and it has been checked as 80. However, if I do 81 now, according to theory at least, this should also be grade A. We'll do that. I'll answer all the questions. Let's get to the basics of this first. Let's understand what we are doing and then we'll take questions. All right. So if marks is equal to 81, I have set it as 81. If it is comparing equals to 80, then I'll not get a grade A, even though I should have got a grade A here. So basically what we are looking for is something called greater than 80. Does this make sense? This symbol, it stands for greater than. And these are the operators. And the operators are, we can do an equals to compare. We can do a greater than to compare. We can do less than to compare. We can even do something called not equal to. If I put exclamation and equal to one after the other, that means it is not equal to. All right. Now, if I say if marks is greater than 80, then say grade A, else print grade B. Okay. Now, if I change this marks to, let's say 90 and say run, I get grade A because marks is equal to 90. However, if I change the marks to 70 here and run, it will say grade B here because it tested for if marks is greater than 80. That was found to be false. So it went here and because greater than 80 was false, then it went here and said print grade B. Does that make sense? Yes or no? What is the difference between if and else? I do a comparison. If true, then I get this one. If false, then I get this one. All right. Now, what if, I mean, see, think about it in your school also. It's not like only grade A or B. It'll be, maybe there's a range there. The range could be something like above 90, then let's call it A. If it is less than 90, but greater than 80. Maybe this is above 90 is A plus, but this is A. Then if it is less than 80, but above 70, then let's call it B, something like that. Yeah. Now what has to happen is that I need something which is more than if and else. I need a bigger comparison. So that can be achieved by using something called else if. The same way we have else, we have if. we have else, we have something called else if, and in here I can do another comparison and say this is, I want to make the top one more than 90 and this one more than 80. Ping your TG link. Are you asking about Telegram? I will do that towards the end, Sanket. So marks greater than 80. What am I doing here? The first condition I'm checking is greater than 90. If it is not greater than 90, I come down one step and say, is it greater than 80 then? Then call it A. In here, call it A plus. And I can say another one and say else if, and say something like marks greater than 70. I can say print grade B, and I'm not going to go into all the details now, and I'm going to say if it is less than 70, then whatever number it is, then set it to print grade C. Okay, so what we have done now is that we have started from 90, then 80, then 70, then 60, depending on what marks have been scored. Let us say I say the marks are 50 and I run this, then I'm going to get a grade C. Okay, once this thing runs, why did we get C? First it checked, is it greater than 90? It said no. Then it checked, is it greater than 80? No. Is it greater than 70? No. Okay, if not, print grade C. That's what we did. So that's basically about both comparison operators. This one is called a comparison operator and this one is called a conditional. With this, we were able to cover if else, if else, and we also did some comparison operators like greater than and equal to. A couple more that we have is something called greater than equal to, in which case what will happen here is that it compares whether it is greater than or equal to, and another one called less than equal to. Okay, preferably we should use this one. All right, and this is basically about conditionals. This is about operators. What we are doing is that we are going step by step now, and we were able to calculate the grade. Okay, and I hope that made sense. All right, I have some questions here I'm trying to answer. Sanket, my parents are telling, why wasting so much time in computer? Learning coding is nothing in life. That's why I'm learning from free platform. Can you tell me which site I could learn Python advanced for free? I cannot tell you that, Sanket. I'm not entirely sure what platforms are there for teaching free, but I don't think learning coding is nothing in life. I have built an entire career with coding for the past 15 years. That's what I've been doing, and it's worked out pretty well for me. It's a very satisfying hobby if you want to turn that into it. It can be a great career option if you want it to be. Your parents are not allowing. Again, I do not want to advise you on this because that is not my job right now. All I can say is that coding, at least in my point of view, it is a great way to enjoy stuff. When are you starting a Python? Nikhil, I am not starting a Python. On Unacademy, we have another educator who is doing Python classes. He does really good classes. You should consider checking out some of his free special classes also. Yeah, cool. So with that in mind, let us get back to this. And we have basically covered variables, we have covered conditionals, and we have covered comparison operators. Okay, what is meant by arithmetic operators then? Let's try to do that now. Okay, somebody asked the question just a while ago, how can we add two numbers? Okay, let's take this. Let's take a variable, call it var first number is equal to 10. I'm going to take a second number equal to 20. Okay, see how I'm writing this also. Understand how I'm doing this. I start with a small letter. I write the first word. If another word starts, I start that with a capital letter and then small again. Okay, if you're creating variable names which have more than one word in it, you have to keep it like this. You don't want to name like this. Okay. Every time a new word begins, you want to capitalize just the first letter of that word, and it will be simpler to read for you. Okay. So with that in mind, let us say where sum of numbers is equal to, what am I doing here? Sum of numbers. Sum is small, O capital, F small, once again, N capital, everything else small. So I can say sum of numbers is equal to first number plus second number. If I do that and I say print sum of numbers, if I do this, okay, see what's happening here. I took a variable, put a value 10 inside it. In fact, I'll turn that so that we can do this also. 20 and 10. I'm changing the first one to 20, second one to 10. And I'm saying variable sum of numbers is equal to first number plus second number. And I say print the sum of numbers. For now, I am going to comment this out. What I've done is I selected, on the keyboard, I typed command. On Windows, you can type control and hit the this character, the /, and it will take care of it and comment everything. Okay. Now let's run this. And what happens is that this variable number 20 and this variable number 10 gets added here because we are using this arithmetic operator called plus. Okay. And we are printing the sum of numbers. Now let us say if I wanted to print diff of numbers or difference of numbers, right? And if I do first number minus second number and print this and run this, what I'll get is, again, observe all I'm doing is I'm using an operator which is plus or minus. Okay. Now I'm going to copy and paste this multiple times, and I can do multiplication. Multiplication is the asterisk or the star symbol. Okay. And division is the / symbol. If I type one time, it becomes division. If I type it two times, it becomes a comment. So be very careful with that. So instead of this, I'm going to call it multiplication of numbers. And this I'm going to call it as division of numbers. Okay. And I can copy paste this once again, do this, do here, do this, do here. And what will happen is if I divide this and run this, what's going to happen is I'm going to get 4 responses here. The first one was 20 plus 10, 30, 20 minus 10, 10, 20 into 10, 200, 20 divided by 10, that makes it 2. So these are what is called the arithmetic operators. So we covered arithmetic and we covered comparison. I think logical is a little too much for today, so I'm going to skip that. But logical is something like this and that and doing all of that. Okay. I hope so far this is making sense. You're getting some sense of what coding is about, and you're able to understand what variables are, what can we do with it, and all of that. Once you understand this, the basics, we can actually step into the next step and do a lot of really good things. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I am going to comment out this also. So every time I'm commenting something out, what is happening is that it still stays here, but it is not executed. Whatever I've typed now, if I do a run now, nothing will happen on the console because this thing has been commented. Okay. And by comment, I always mean something that makes sense to the coder, but the programming language ignores it. Okay. That's what, when is your next class? My next class is at 7 o'clock today itself, Atharva. That's the plus classes I take in Creative Corner. We are in slightly advanced stages of that. On 27th, I am taking, on Sunday, 4 o'clock, I'm taking one more class with respect to website creation. So you might want to join. That's free also. But if you can, consider joining into the classes that we are doing on mobile app. We are having a lot of fun and learning a lot of new things every day in the mobile app class. Okay, so let's get to loops now, like I said. What is a loop? A loop is something that runs again and again and again. Let's say I wanted to print my name 4 times. What can I do? I can say print Abhilash. I can say, do this 4 times and hit run. What will happen? Oh, you wanted to say a little slow, Nikhil? All right, I'll do that. I'm sorry if it was a little too fast. Okay, let us say I wanted to print Abhilash 4 times. I can do this 4 times. What if I wanted to print my name 40 times? Then what's going to happen? I can do this in theory. I can copy this and say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, I pasted that 10 times. I hit on run, and now my name has been printed 40 times. See, 40 times the same name has been printed. That makes no sense, right? Why would you want to type that much code to do this? So most programming languages provide a concept called loops. And what we do in loops is that I can say how many times I want this. So the syntax for that, or the word you need to remember for that, is called for. Okay, for is the keyword. Then I open a bracket, close a bracket, then open the curly brace, close the curly brace, hit enter, and I cut this and I paste this here. With me, I'm putting this thing into for, and usually what is this called as? It said this is for loop. Why am I calling this a loop? I'm calling this a loop because I want to repeat this 40 times, let us say, or 20 times, or 10 times, or 4 times, or whatever. So I can do something like this. For where index, it is called. Index is each time the loop is running. Think of it like a circle where I go around, one circle is completed. I go again, another circle is completed. I go again, and I keep going. And what I'm doing is that I'm repeating this again and again until 20 times have been achieved. So I can do something like this, where I say where index is equal to 1. So I say start with a variable called number 1. Okay, the value of that variable is 1. Now, until this number 1 is less than or equal to 20, keep increasing this number by 1. I plus plus will do what? It will increase this number twice, each time by 1, basically. So think of it going like a circle, and what you're doing is that, sorry, I said I meant index. And here also I meant index. So what I'm saying is that take a variable called index, give it a number and a value called 1. Until that number becomes equal to 20 or less than or equal to 20, keep increasing the number by 1 mark. Okay, so think of it like this. It's a circle. The first time the value starts with 1. The second time the value goes to 2 because I've done a plus. It compares, is it less than or equal to 20? Yes. So it prints Abhilash. Increases by 1 more, it becomes 3. Checks, is it less than or equal to 20? Yes, it is. And it keeps doing this until it reaches, I have gone through the circle 4 times, 5 times, 6 times, 18 times, 19 times, 20 times. The moment I have hit 20 times, if I increase it once more, what will happen? Index would have become 21. Is 21 less than or equal to 20? No, it is not. Therefore, it will stop printing. Let's run this. Okay, now you would see this would have printed 20 times because 20 is not so easy to see because of the scrolling. I'm going to make it 6 and run it again. What happens now is that this thing gets printed 6 times. Does that make sense, Nikhil? Mannan and other people here. Is this making sense? What is happening in this? Okay, cool. So we have done this 6 times now. Now, if I wanted to do something like Abhilash if I want to say something like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 behind this, right? I can do this. Think about it. I can do dollar is the keyword I want to use. And if I type dollar index, index is this variable. What is happening? Each time index is increasing by 1. It has become 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And if I do this and I hit on run, what will happen is that this 1, 2, 3, 4 that the index value is being set, that will start coming here in front of Abhilash. Do you see now? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Why is that happening? Because index is a variable that is being incremented. That is the word. We are incrementing it by one number, and that is why I'm able to get that. And I could do in theory stuff like this. I could do the reason I'm putting dollar behind it is that I want Dart to understand that whatever follows after dollar, it is the variable. That's not the text itself. If I did not put dollar, right, what would happen is that the word index itself will get printed. See this? The word index is printed. That's not what I want. I want whatever data is inside the variable index, that I want to be printed. And therefore, it comes as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And this is primarily the concept of a loop. And a loop and list go well together, because think about it, we did that list in the beginning, right? The apps that I have. Let's recreate that variable once more. If I say app list is equal to, I've forgotten what all apps I had used before, but right now I'm going to go with Google Maps. I'm going to go Unacademy. And I'm going to say Twitter for now. Let's say these are the 3 apps I have. And this is the variable. Now, if I wanted to print all of these, then instead of going with this approach, which is where index is equal to 1 and doing an increment of the index, the for loop can be used in another way. Okay? How can it be used? I can say for variable app in app list. Understand what happened here? We have created a variable called app, just like I had created a variable called index. Now I'm saying in app list. The keyword here that you have to remember is in. Whenever I use the word in, what will happen is that it will go through this loop one by one. So I can say print app this time. Okay. And if I do a run on this, what will happen is that whatever was there in this list, Google Maps, Unacademy, and Twitter, that will start coming here. Why is this necessary now? Let us say we were creating the problem statement. Remember, what did we do? We said, let us create the list of people with grades, correct? So this is what we are going to do now. What we are going to do is that we know how to run through a list. Let's create a list. I have some names here today. So let's say, okay, first of all, is this clear what happened here? The for in loop. Do you see in green, for is in green and in is in green. So if for in loop is somewhat different from for loop, but it does the same purpose. For loop does something a number of times, whereas for in loop does it as many times as there are in the list that we have. Now, if this much is clear, what I can do is that I can get rid of all of this and look at the final concept that we want to use. And I'm deleting this so that that goes away. If this was clear, we talked about for and for in. And if we got this, the only thing that really remains to be discussed now is something called a function. And finally, we come back to that question, what is this void all about? This void is a type, which means nothing. I can actually get rid of it. This will be perfectly fine. We just keep it. Void means nothing. Do you understand? Void is empty, which means nothing. Main is the name of the function. And if I put this starting bracket and closing bracket is called a parenthesis. If I put this becomes a function. And then I put the opening braces and closing braces, that becomes the definition of a function. So outside of the main, I want to create a function called void. That means do nothing right now. And I say show grade. Let us say this is the function that I'm going to create. Now I can show the grade only when I know how many marks were scored. So I pass what is called as a variable called marks. This part inside the parenthesis, this is called a argument or a something that we are passing to it. Think of it like this. You are a function. I am asking you a question. I'm saying, what is the grade here? And the functions, you say, how much marks have you scored? Tell me the marks, I'll tell you the grade. Now let's go with this. I am going to cut this and I'm going to put this here and I'm going to uncomment this, the grade function that we had already written. So think of it like this. Show grade, if marks were given to it, it does the comparison and prints something. Now what we can do is that we can say, show grade of 70. Yeah, we know what is show grade of 70. I'm supposed to get grade B right now. If you run this, what has happened is that I created a function, and this is called this is where the function was created. And this is called the function was called here. It's almost like picking up the phone and calling the function like, hey, Mr. Show Grade, I've got 70 marks. Can you tell me what the grade is? And the show grade function is going to do its calculation. Is it greater than 90? No. Is it greater than 80? No. Is it greater than or equal to 70? Yes. Therefore, grade B, take it, and it gave it back to us. Okay. That's what happened here. Okay. However, we don't want the function to do the printing. I want to print it here myself. So I can say where grade is equal to this. So I can say I want the variable grade inside which I want the show grade function to be called, and that value I want to put it inside here. So instead of saying print, right, I use the word called return. I'm saying, you know what? You don't bother with printing it. You just return it to me, and I am going to do the printing part. That's what the word return does. I hope this is making sense, because once you understand this much, you are well on your way to write very, very complex functions already. So if we understand what this word return is doing, it is saying, give this back, write it on a sheet of paper, maybe chit of paper, and give it back to the main function. Let the main function do whatever it wants with it. Now I'm getting an underline because it says a value of type string cannot be returned from a function because it has a return type of void. All I have to do is I have to get rid of this void and type string here. Because we are returning string, the function has to be of type string. That's what this is. So the function has a type, then it has a function name, then it has a variable, okay? And even that has a type, and this word is called argument, and this can do a return. That's what this does. We did this, we returned it back to it. Inside the grade, there is 70 now. If I run, what will happen is that on the console, nothing will come up, because all we have done is we have put the variable, the value inside this variable right now. What I can do, though, is I can say print grade. I do this, and if I run this, then what will happen is that the grade A, B, or whatever gets calculated, that's get sent here. So what we have now done is that we have taken everything that we have learned. We took variables, we took conditionals, we did that. We did operators, we checked it, we assigned it, we're going to use the loop in 1 second, and we wrote a function, and the function is doing a return, and we have got the value. Now, what we have done in the last 1 hour, even though we wasted about 10-15 minutes struggling with some technical issue, is that we have covered everything which is the basics of programming. And with that, you have pretty much everything you need to know to start using any programming language. Okay, so let us start with this simple thing now. Now that we know how it works, let us try doing this. When I say var student list is equal to, okay, and I want to create a list, and I say var marks list is equal to, and I do this. There are better ways of doing this, but this is the simplest way that we can learn now. Let us put Alice, Bob, Charlie, 3 people, and to them let us give 70, 65, 93. These are the marks I have given. Okay, let us try and print these people's names first. I can do a for loop on this one. Okay, and I want to show you something really cool today. Okay, here we go. For var index is equal to 0, if I start and say index. Now I don't know how many are there. I can count there are 3 in here, but instead of doing that, we can say, you know what, give me the student list dot length. So if I say that, it is going to calculate the length and give it back to me and say it is 3. And I can say index plus plus. And all I'm saying now is that student list index. Okay, let's try and understand what is happening here. I said for var index is equal to 0, index less than, I could have said 3. Okay, I didn't have to do this. I could have said 3, this would perfectly work. But instead of saying that, I'm saying this because let us say tomorrow a new student joins here. Okay, and that student's name is called Daniel, and that student scored 77 marks. Then what would happen is that I have to come back here and change. If there was 3 here, I have to remove that and put 4. But if I put student list dot length here, it will do the calculation itself. I don't have to remember to change this. And that is a big advantage when you use the dot length instead of this. So if I say student list dot index, okay, let's get rid of these 2 variables first. And I do a run, what will happen is that, whoops, it's not this. I have to say print, my bad. Print student list dot index. So if I run on that, what will happen is that Alice, Bob, Charlie, and Daniel will come here. These are the 4 things. However, I can do another thing. I can say plus. Plus means I'm not adding now. I'm doing what is called as a concatenation or joining of 2 strings. So I can say this, put a comma here, put a space here, and then do plus. And now I can say marks list of index also you give to me. And if I run it like this now, what will happen is that there is Alice. Whoops, what did I do? Oh, okay. All right, good. So we got an error. What does this error mean? It means a value of type int cannot be assigned to a variable of type string, it says. That's fine. We know this is an integer, 70, or a number rather. And this one is a string or a text. So I can do something like this. I can say to string. To string. And if I say this, and if I do a run on this one, what's going to happen is that I'm going to get Alice 70, Bob 65, Charlie 93, Daniel 77. Now we have the names and we have the marks that have been scored. Is this clear what is happening in this? I took the list. From this list, I took the name, and then I added a comma after that. This is the comma and space, and then I added the number 70, and I had to do a toString for it. Now, let us say I wanted to add the grade also. I can do the same thing, plus, comma, space, and then I can do this, which is plus, and since I have this show grade function here, right, I can do show grade. Okay. The show grade, I can once again put this here. Let's do one thing. Let's make it simpler. Okay. I'm taking another variable called where student name is equal to this. I can do this one here. I can say where marks is equal to, and I can put this variable here. And finally, I can say where grade is equal to, and we have the show grade function with us. And if we pass the marks to it, the show grade function should work. Okay, so let's go ahead. I've got these three variables now, and I say print for me, dear computer, and now I don't have to do any of the toString and all of that, because all of that is done already here. So I can straight away say dollar student name space comma dollar marks comma dollar grade. If I do this and run, and if everything goes well, what should happen is, okay, it's not working. So let's check what happened here. We've got the grade, not a function type error, student dot grade. Okay, you know what? Let's not do that. Let's keep it simple and do what we just tried. Again, one of the things that we have to remember when we are coding is that this is literally how coding works. Coding works by you make mistakes, you see the error message, what that error message is, understand from it, and then write it once more. So now I've written student name plus, then I put a comma, then I've taken a marks, then I put a comma, and then I've put a grade. Let's see if this works. If it does not, we'll try and fix that once more. There's no, one way of doing anything here. All right. So it's possible that there's a problem with the local variable. To that end, again, I don't want to further complicate what you're learning here. So I can just replace whatever was working in the past and then just go with it. Okay. Again, we lost a lot of time. Otherwise I would have gotten into much more detail on this one. Whoops. Yeah, no. Hang on. I'll explain the whole thing all over again. Let it start working first, and then we'll take it from there. Okay. Now that we have got this working, let me explain to you what went wrong and what we did to fix it. We have got student list index, which is ls. We've got 70, which is marks list index dot toString. And then this grade is coming here because we have show grade, and to that we have passed the marks itself. Once you have passed that and we are printing it, this is what we get. So basically what we are able to do is that we were able to use the concept of functions, loops, operators, conditionals, and variables. And we were able to create within what? Some 10-15 lines of code, something that takes students, their marks, calculates the code, grade, and then comes back to it. So this is the big key in programming or coding, which is trying to break down the problem into small parts and then go about it. And that's basically the basics of programming that I wanted to cover. Let's stop sharing. I We'll bring back this on the screen, and I'm going to take exactly 5 more minutes and wrap this up. So this is where we are. We were able to cover quite a lot of topics. If it felt like too much, please go back, consider reading some of the material that I've put inside this presentation by downloading it, and then watch the video a little more. We lost a little bit of time. I would have wanted to do a little more, but that's okay. We were still able to cover everything that we wanted to cover. And that's that. I am now going to, share some little details about the next steps that you can do. But the course itself is done. Thank you everybody who was part of it, and thank you everybody who's going to watch the session recorded. I hope you're able to learn some really cool concepts from this. Okay, I have a quick announcement. Unacademy's Creative Corner. There's a lot of new things happening in Creative Corner. We have something called Beyond School Syllabus, in which we are talking Vedic maths, robotics, coding, something that I'm doing, negotiation, financial literacy, chess. All of these are being taught in the Beyond School Syllabus. We have doodling, we have music and magic tricks, we have effective communication, debating, public speaking, storytelling, poetry. We're doing all of this in Creative Corner, and it helps you discover your inherent creativity. So join in, and what will happen is that you are going to have a lot of fun in this one. And these are the fees for it. This is the subscription for it. For 1 month, you can get it for 3,000. 6 months discounted at 44%, you get for 10,000. So on up to 24 months. For 25,000 rupees, you can get 2 full years of access. We have lots of courses already. More are going to be added. I'm going to type in here my code, which is Abhilash_10, ABHILASH_10. If you use this and then you try to subscribe, you're going to get a 10% off on the already discounted prices. And I think you're going to like that a lot. What is also happening is that we have an assignment for you after having watched this. If you come up and upload a video of you doing whatever has been taught, what will happen is that the video is going to be featured on the Creative Corner's YouTube channel. And you have awards to win also. In December, we are doing free live classes for everyone every day from 7th till 31st. I'm going to announce a list of programs that are going to happen tomorrow onwards as well. And what you can do is come join there, participate in it, learn whatever, and create videos and send it to us, and you get a chance to get featured on the Creative Corner's YouTube channel. And all the sessions are free, by the way. On 27th December, I am taking a class on the world of website creation. You will be able to explore what is there in the website creation world. You'll be able to learn everything you need to create your own websites and such. On further, I think I've got the dates wrong here. This is 28, 29, 30, and 31st. I've made a mistake on this one. The dates are these. 27th is mine. Then 28th, 29th, 30, and 31st, you've got classes by Suresh, Suhani, Shravani, and Anup on Vedic maths, magic, public speaking, and speed maths. So I do have a small homework for you. If you're able to do that homework assignment, use all the concepts we learned today to write a function that calculates electricity bill. Okay, how does that work? Electricity bill works like this. The first 200 units is at 5 rupees per unit. After that, it becomes 6 rupees per unit, and so on. Take this if-else calculation grades that I had done today in this class and apply that to electricity bill. Give a number of units, and your program should be able to calculate the electricity bill. This is a suggestion. If you want to do something else, please go ahead and do that also. And that's that. Give that a shot. I have here, I want to share with you a link on which you are going to upload the video. Hang on 1 second while I copy and paste that link here. And that link I'm going to also pin on this session. This is the link. use this form link, and you should be able to submit your form by filling up that. And what will happen is that we will look into it, and if you have done well, you're going to be featured on our YouTube channel as well. You have to submit it before 31st December though, so get on it. All right, and that's what I wanted to talk about. Thank you and happy coding. Manan, you have a question. Let me take a quick look at that. You said you have done this much. Let's see what you have done, Manan. Okay, all right, you seem to be working parallelly, and you are using conditionals to show whether somebody is an adult or not by comparing their age. Perfect. Manan, go ahead, finish this, and submit your video to the, this is looking really good. So good job. So in this link that I've uploaded, submit the video, do something good with it, and upload a video of you doing it and talking about it. And we will definitely be able to, feature you on there if your work is good. And what I'm also going to do lastly is I'm going to leave with you in this list, in this chat also, the link to join my Telegram channel. Okay, it's Unacademy _Abhilash _Purohit. In there, you will be able to get access to some other stuff that we do as well. Come join here. So 3 things are: one, that I'm sharing here are Abhilash _10, your code to get discounted 10% discount on the subscription. Then the link to upload your assignment, and finally the link to join my Telegram channel where we can talk a little more and learn some more. Okay. On that note, I thank you all for joining, and I wish you very, very happy coding. And I'll see you in my class if you decide to join up. All right. Bye-bye.